So you want to read tarot cards. Let me tell you, I have a list of 15 things that you should know before you read tarot cards. 15 things that I wish that somebody had have told me when I was a newbie or before I started doing this professionally, okay? So I hope this list will help you. I want to feel more like your big sister here and just kind of lead you along, give you a couple ideas of things that you should probably know before you agree that you want to read tarot cards. How about the first one? Number one, people will be highly emotional. It's probably a good idea to have some Kleenex. I'd say about 80% of the readings that I do, there's something that I touch on during the reading that will make people cry or express some sort of high emotion. So have your Kleenex ready. Occasionally, it happens to me too if something comes out that's really deep or profound or emotional. I may also shed a few tears. Number two, it's therapeutic for both parties. It's therapeutic for you that gives it. The energy surrounding it, reading cards is always really good. So it just feels like a little form of therapy. And as well for the people who you're reading for, it's very therapeutic to have somebody validate their feelings and experiences, and they don't feel like they have to justify anything. It's like a little mini therapy session. Number three, this one was a little bit hard for me to come to terms with. Resistance usually means that you're bang on, not that you're wrong. There will be times that you're reading and people will get their back up and say, like, no way, that's not right. And when you're a newbie, you feel like, oh, wow, maybe I'm wrong. What you come to find out later is you'll get validation from them down the road that you were absolutely 100% spot on. If they're resisting something, it's usually something internal and they don't want to admit what you just told them that you read in the cards. So resistance usually means that you're bang on, not wrong. Number four, this is probably the most important one. Let's put a big star next to this one. Boundaries are essential. Boundaries for your time, boundaries for your energy. It is really important that you set proper boundaries with the people that you're reading for. So is it okay if they contact you later for clarification around something? What is the time limit that you've got set? Are you willing to read for them for free? If they contact you later and say, I need more clarification around this, do they expect you to give them another small little reading or pull some more cards out? You need to determine this, and it will come with time. When you feel like maybe you're being taken advantage of, you'll set those appropriate boundaries. But boundaries are definitely essential. And how much energy are you willing to spend? How much time are you willing to spend with each person? Boundaries are essential. Number five, at the beginning, it doesn't feel like you'll ever get to this place, but you will. You won't remember everyone or every reading. Especially, there's times that I'll be set up in a location and I'll do a whole bunch of mini readings. So I may do 25 or 30 or 35 in a short amount of time. I don't remember people's faces. I have no idea what the card said for them. So later on, when I meet up with them, they expect me to remember every detail or remember them, and I don't always remember. So it happens at the beginning while you're learning how to read cards. Some of those things will stick out in your memory. You'll remember details about readings. You'll remember every single person that you've read for. But as you progress, you are not going to remember everyone or every reading or every detail. Number six, you will be busy, very busy. I don't mean busy in a negative way, but your schedule will be full. You'll have to really establish boundaries around that. How much time are you devoting each day or each week to giving readings? How long is each reading going to take, and how many people does it take to fill up that schedule? I usually see people on a rotation of 3 months or more. So every month I can usually fit in 100 readings-ish. And I have no trouble finding those 100 people. You're going to be busy. You're going to be busy, especially if you're working a full-time job and you're doing this on the side. You will be busy. It doesn't take very long before your schedule gets full. So as long as you understand that and you establish your own schedule and what hours you're willing to work, just know that you will be busy. All right, number 7, a calm environment for reading is essential. Sometimes I do reading on the phone. Sometimes I do reading by video. Sometimes I do reading by email. Sometimes I do reading face-to-face. But it's essential that the environment that you're reading in is calm and serene and peaceful and has really good energy. Smudge if you must, but try to limit noisy kids, noisy dogs, doorbells ringing, whatever you need to do to create a space. Sometimes it's hard if you're reading in a public space, but just make the area that you're reading in as quiet and calm and peaceful as you can so that there aren't outside distractions. Number 8, skeptics are okay and welcome. That seems funny, doesn't it? Why would you want to read for somebody who doesn't necessarily believe in what you're doing? Because they will. They will. I welcome skeptics. I'm not trying to prove anything. If they've come to me, part of them is highly curious about what it is that I do. So I'm open to reading. I'm open to changing their mind, possibly. I'm open to give them a different experience, one that they may be skeptical about, but it's okay. If everybody was a raving fan, where would the challenge come from, right? It's okay if not everybody trusts or believes in what you're doing at the moment they sit down for a reading, because you'll find that by the end of reading, they'll be believers. Number 9. You may not know this, but tarot is a tool that we use, and we use that tool to tap into our own intuition. So you will find, number 9, that you will tap into psychic abilities or unexplained things. You'll get knowledge messages, things that you need to say that don't necessarily come out of the deck, the tool that you're using. You'll tune into energy that you can't explain, and it's just a natural progression. It's okay. It's nothing to fear. When we get really in tune with our own intuition, our senses can pick up information that we may not have a tangible way to explain that. It's okay. It's okay, and it's all part of the process. For some people, it won't happen. Some people have blocked that within themselves and they're not interested in that. And that's okay too. If they learn tarot as a skill, they don't necessarily want or need to have any other unexplained abilities come out of that. That's fine. But for most of us, we find that tarot is just a stepping stone. It's the tool that will bring us closer to unexplained gifts. Number 10. Oh, this one's tough. There will be points where you have to use your best judgment about what you're going to say. Sometimes there are things revealed to us that we see that the person sitting across from us they don't have a say in what the outcome is. The outcome is happening. It may not be a pleasant thing. And then you have to use your best judgment about how do you relay that message? How do you tell them about something that may be negative that they have no control over? Do you share that? I'll give you an example. I was doing a mini reading for somebody online, so we weren't face-to-face. There's 78 cards in a tarot deck. I pull out 3 cards. I understand right away that there is a gentleman attached to this lady who is going to pass away. Regardless, there's nothing she can do to change that outcome. A gentleman she is very close to will be passing away soon. And I don't want to tell her that. This is like an uplifting thing. I'm going to give her a message. So because she couldn't change the outcome, I was like, I don't want to tell her. I put those 3 cards back in the deck. I shuffle, pull out 3 more cards. Guess what? They were the same flipping cards. Honestly. I still don't want to tell her. I put the 3 cards back in the deck. I shuffle, pull out 3 new cards. I give her the message. She's grateful. She's like, wow, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. This was early in the week, and her father had passed away that weekend, the next weekend. So I knew that. I chose not to share that with her. Why would I tell her that ahead of time? I've also had a couple cases where I understand that somebody's expecting a baby, but I don't see any future for the baby. Both of those pregnancies ended before the baby, they didn't have a viable life at the end of it. So I didn't choose to tell them that. That was my personal choice. It was a weight that I chose to carry, a burden that I chose to carry by not telling them that, because what purpose would that have sold or told? Yeah, what was the purpose of that? The other thing was, and I since, we talk about boundaries, I've since changed my mind around this one too. There was a specific time that I was reading for a husband and wife together. And I understood right away that the husband had been unfaithful and the wife was questioning this. Those words didn't come out, but those messages came out in the card, in the spreads that I was reading. So I understood that absolutely the husband had been unfaithful. And although she was questioning it, she wanted proof. She wanted him to admit it. She wanted me to call it out. She wanted to have a big brawl there. I wasn't having any part in that. So after they left, he did contact me. He stopped me actually on the way out the door and said, thank you. And I said, don't ever put me in that position again. So that was the last day that I ever read for a husband and wife together. See, you learn as you go. But you have to be very careful about what information, you have to use your best judgment about what information you are willing to share. For me, if I can't say anything so that somebody can change the outcome of something, I don't necessarily want to tell them that so that they feel stress and worry and negative emotions, okay? But this is a personal decision for you. You may choose to tell people everything. You'll come to that decision on your own. All right, 11. Occasionally, you will be wrong. Like weathermen, right? They're not always 100% correct. I found the cases where I was absolutely, completely off the mark were always situations where I was reading for multiple people that were sitting in front of me. And what happened, and I can't explain it, but what happened is the messages got mixed up between the people who were sitting across from me. So I'm explaining a situation and the person across from me has got this quizzical look, but the person beside them, who I don't think I'm reading for, is nodding and I think that's, they're going, I think that message is for me. It's happened to me a handful of times. It always makes me uncomfortable, but now I just explain that if there's multiple people sitting across from me, there are occasions where messages get mixed up. So everybody needs to pay attention. Number 12, you should know before you start reading tarot cards that it feels amazing to make a difference. Sometimes that difference that we make for somebody is just the validation that they need to tap into their own intuition, because that's what happens ultimately is the person already knows what to do. They just want you to say it so that they can make the best decision. If you can lay out multiple outcomes, you take path A, you're going to get outcome B. You take path C, you're going to get outcome D. You talk about the pros and the cons of each one, and the people sit back and go, yeah, I knew what I was supposed to do. It feels really good to be that person that can make a difference in somebody else's life. We're called entertainers, right? Somebody may choose to come and have a reading with us instead of going out to dinner and a movie. Same thing. We're entertainers, but we do make a difference, and it feels really great when you can help somebody through a situation. You can help them gain clarity around what they're going through. It does feel really great to make a difference. Number 13. This one's interesting. It is harder to read for yourself and your close friends and family than it is to read for strangers. And I think the reason for that is that, especially when we read for ourselves, we know too much of the situation already. So when we pull out cards, we may try to manipulate those in our mind to get the best outcome, or the outcome that we think we want, instead of being very impartial and just reading it as we would for a stranger. And also when you're reading for friends and family or people that you're acquainted with, you'll find that you think you know what the cards mean based on what you know about the situation that they're in. And then you'll find out sometimes that what you are reading is something to do with a completely different aspect, something that you might not know about. So I do find it much more challenging to read for friends and family, which is funny because when we start reading, we usually read for ourselves and our close friends and family. So when we master that skill, just know it gets so much easier from there. Reading for acquaintances or strangers is so much easier, I promise. Number 14, you will be misunderstood. People will believe that you're tapping into something horrible and negative. They'll call you negative names. I've embraced the term witch because I am, and I don't see it as negative. But when people say it to me, they sometimes say it with a negative connotation. I don't receive it that way, so it doesn't make any difference. Some people will look at you, if this is what you choose to do for full-time, if this is your profession, people will look at you like, well, that's not really a job. That's not a real job. So there will be people who misunderstand you and what you stand for and your role as a professional. That's okay. That's theirs. That's their blocks. That's theirs to wear. You will come across it, but just know that that doesn't define who you are. You know that you make a difference. You know that you operate from the best place. I always have this little mantra that I say before I get ready to read. I go through a whole charge maybe. I allow my body to relax. I protect myself, my energy, and I ask that I can come from my highest place to give the best reading for my client's highest good. So I come from my highest place to give the best reading for my client's highest good. And that's all that we need to do. We don't need to worry about what other people think of what we do. Okay, and here's the last one. The thing that you should probably take most seriously when we decide to read tarot is our words have weight. Although we're considered entertainment, our readings and our words have weight that will change the way that somebody looks at their situation. It'll make them possibly choose a different path. Our words have weight. And don't take that lightly. People will choose to stay in a relationship or leave a relationship based on what you tell them about their cards. They'll choose to stay in a job or leave a job or start a business or buy a home or make big decisions based on the information that they gather during your reading. So don't take that lightly. Our words definitely have weight. And I hope this helps you make your decision before you decide if reading tarot cards is right for you. These were the things that I wish that somebody had kind of taken me under their wing and told me at the very beginning. And I hope for you, it makes a difference. You guys take care.